Good morning, St. Paul's family. I join you today from my home office. And on one side of me, I have my cat. On the other side, my coffee. And as I look out onto the snowy yard, I see that there is reason for hope. There is a pussy willow tree in the middle of the snow. And it brings me hope of summer, of spring, of new tomorrows. And I just want to encourage you that as this discouraging news keeps coming in, every day we hear something new in the news, or we get an email sent to us from a well-meaning friend, and the discouragement can sometimes just eat away at our hearts, cause us to go, oh God, is there any hope right now? I encourage you, there is hope. David writes, "When my spirit was overwhelmed within me, thou didst know my path." Psalms 142:3. Though our spirits be overwhelmed, God does know our path. He does have a path for us. I read a story the other day about a grandmother who woke up all of her grandchildren while they were at the ocean one summer at 2 o'clock in the morning. She woke them all up and she says, God has given me a task to do. Gather all the Coke bottles. They gathered all the Coke bottles from over that entire summer, and they gathered them all on the shore, and they wrote out different verses and different letters on pieces of paper and put them in the Coke bottles. Some of the kids were tasked with writing the verses. Some of the kids were tasked with putting the cork in the bottle. That day, that grandmother and her children put over 200 Coke bottles into the ocean because God had asked them to. Years later, there was a mom sitting down at her kitchen table writing a letter. And she wrote in that letter, I am here with my children. I have 11 children. My husband died last fall. The farm is about to be foreclosed. And I have no hope in the future. This morning I went down to the river. It's winter, it's cold. I figured it wouldn't take too long for me to die. I hacked a hole in the ice. And as I hacked the hole in the ice, a bottle popped up through the ice. And in that bottle, I found a piece of paper. And on that piece of paper, it gave me a verse. And it said to me, but for him who is joined to all the living, there is hope. Ecclesiastes 9:4. And they referenced other verses. Hebrews 7:19, 6-18, and John 3:3. And she went home and she read her Bible and she saw that God had provided hope for her family. That was 40 years after the original bottles had been thrown into the water. The lady had passed away the week before, and this was the very last letter that had been sent to them, thanking them. Over the years, many letters had been sent to say thank you so much for what you have written to me. Imagine how far that one bottle had to go. It had to go through the ocean, through rivers, and wait in that one place for that one specific time. God provided hope for her when she needed it the most. And God will provide hope for each of us in this time when we feel that hope is just deferred, when we feel discouraged and we don't always know what our next step is. I pray that you will turn to God and you will ask him to step into your days when you're alone at home with your kids, or maybe you're just alone. And I encourage you to reach out to your friends, reach out to other people in the church, send them a letter in the mail, send them a phone call, an email, anything, just to stay connected to the people who love you and who love God. If you're looking for addresses or phone numbers, remember that on our Planning Center app that you can find everybody's address and phone number, I believe, and you can give them a call or send them a card just to let them know that you're thinking about them and that God loves them, not to be discouraged, but to be filled with hope. God loves you. He's with you during this hard time.